Okay, I am so excited to be here and start off our 5-day breakfast challenge. And this is like such a fun part for me is this kickoff call of like what's keeping the weight stuck. And the reason I love to have this call is just because it wasn't what I thought it was. I'm going to share a little bit about my story, how things kind of shaped up for me by this one small shift that you're going to do in this 5-day challenge, and then also some stories from some of my clients who have done my 30-day one-to-one coaching when we started with this one small shift, exactly everything that you're doing right now through all this. So, and then if we have time and there's some like live chatter on here, we can actually do some like live coaching and get a little bit into your day, into your breakfast and see where there's a little bit of leaks happening that maybe we can tailor that are going to help you feel more energized, more calm, stop that 1 p.m. nap or feeling like you got to crawl under your desk and take a fiver. Stop the cravings and the binging because I used to think that I had a discipline problem. So a little bit about myself. So I'm really glad you're here. I started this 5-day challenge because it was one of the very first shifts that I found helped me the most. And when I'm working with my clients through my one-to-one coaching, it's the very first place that I start with them. And here's the reason why. A high protein breakfast is not just about upping your protein anymore. A lot of us think that getting a high protein breakfast is just about hitting that elusive protein target throughout our day, but it actually does so much more which I'm going to chat about really briefly towards the end of the call. This will only be about 20 minutes, by the way. So, first thing about me is that I was a peanut butter and toast lover for like years and years and years. I used to think that I was just taking in 2 to 3 pieces of peanut butter and toast was like getting my protein in. Like newsflash, guys, protein in peanut butter is like really lacking, and there's actually hardly any. I was actually devastated when that happened. But then what happened was like I would reach for like a sweet treat at 10 o'clock. Like I would feel like, oh, I need something. So I would, if I was at work, I would go to like our little drawer. I would grab like crackers or something. If I was at home, I would actually grab another piece of peanut butter and toast because I usually have my breakfast around like 7 to 7:30. And then it would lead to this all these other things. Like at 1 o'clock, I was tired. At 12 o'clock, I wouldn't really eat all that much because I was actually hungry. I wasn't actually that hungry from my peanut butter and toast I just had at 10 or whatever it was. Maybe it was a Starbucks drink, it was like a loaf or something. I wasn't really I didn't really feel like I needed to take that much in. Then at like 1 o'clock to like 3 o'clock, I was tired. Then I got hungry before I came home and I was making dinner and I was munching on things. And then I wouldn't want to eat that much dinner, and then before like the kids went to bed, I was raiding the cupboard because I was hungry and I had all these like really intense cravings. And what I learned throughout this journey and when I work with my clients and what I learned when I went through my own 30-pound, 31-pound weight loss in 4 months is that it has nothing to do with discipline. It has nothing to do with willpower. It is body biology that is actually leading you through this roller coaster throughout your day, which you can shift very quickly with this one thing. Now, the one thing that we're going to focus on is breakfast. Now, of course, there's other things throughout your day that you can shift: high protein breakfast, strength and exercise, working on macros, and having the correct proportion. And those are things that I work with in my clients when we do one-to-one coaching. But for this sake, we are focusing on that shift that that breakfast can give you. So for a long time, that was my story. And I want to tell you a little bit about some of the clients that have come into my world over the past 6 months once I started my coaching clients. My first one is that I want to give a huge shout out to is Natalie. So I actually am gonna name her on here. So she came into my world in October through my one-to-one coaching. She actually ended up losing 17 pounds in just over I'm just gonna do the math, just over 12 weeks. And when she started, her day was all over the place. Her morning usually started around 8 o'clock in the morning. She would have her breakfast when she got to work somewhere around 10 a.m., which was very small. It was maybe like a small little protein shake. Before that, she was just drinking coffee and trying to get out the door because she was a busy woman with mom of two. Then around 12 o'clock, she'd have a small lunch. Usually she said it was avocado, maybe some cheese and crackers. Then around 3 o'clock, she would have like a sugary drink because she was craving something. Then she would go home, snack before dinner, have something small for dinner. And then she was binging and like admittedly binging and craving quite a bit throughout the nighttime before her kids went to bed. All through this day, this was like a pattern that she repeated for years. And when we first came together, I said to her, I was like, okay, now I have a good picture of like what's happening. Where I want to make the first change is your breakfast. And she's like, okay. How are we going to do this? And I'm like, it's simple. It doesn't require a complete overhaul of your day yet. We're just going to focus on that. So we started her with a high protein breakfast, my absolute favorite, which was my yogurt bowl. We started it with my Arbonne protein powder, the essential meal. And what I love about that, and she chose to use the products because it's how I've gotten the best results with myself and with my clients. So when you start with me, it's an optional program, it's an optional thing that you can purchase. Maybe you have something that you love already, but it does get you the best results. So she started with the yogurt bowl. She started with adding in, and this was something super quick and easy that she could make, by the way, because that's the other thing is like you're thinking like, I don't have time to be thinking of all these recipes. Well, the best thing is that I actually provide them for you. And I know they're quick, super simple and easy because as a mom of two working full time, so, like her and me as a mom of three working full time on a farm, I ain't got time to be sitting around and looking at like 17 steps to make a breakfast. Like I want something quick and easy, and ideally, if I can even make it the night before, which is exactly what we started with. So after her doing this yogurt bowl and adding in the protein, which gave her 40 some grams of protein. She started having this every day. Then we started shifting to her lunch and how can we work this? Then we started working on better meal choices. We started seeing things that she could do on the go. Her step count increased. She went from like 4,000 steps to over 10,000 a day with a little bit of an injury, not pushing herself, but just getting into that consistency. Then we started with her supper. Like, what can we do at dinner? All in all, through the time that we worked together, which was 90 days, she had lost 17 pounds. She went from someone who was eating basically like small little sweet treats over the course of her day to eating this beautiful high protein breakfast. It turns out that her protein pancake was one of her favorites to like a lunch that was like nourishing and feeling good about it and like a helping serving. Like one thing she said is that I can't believe I'm eating so much food, then to eating a really nourishing supper, the same foods as her family, nothing different. Like I said, busy hockey mom, ain't got time to doing that. Even having appropriate takeout choices and freezer options and all those things we work together to like really building a beautiful lifestyle. The next client started on this very challenge that you're doing right now. She started with just doing everything, running hard, exercising, weight that came out of nowhere. She would have her breakfast somewhere around 10 o'clock and drink coffee all through the day. Like, I mean, she said it wasn't even doing anything for her anymore because she was drinking so much, somewhere close to like 9 to 11 cups per day. So she started on the coffee flavored protein with the yogurt bowl. Believe it or not, this yogurt bowl is viral and it's a mainstay in my program for a reason because, and I'm going to break it down, it gives you that proper amount of protein. As women, when we wake up in the morning, we should be ideally having anywhere from 30 to 40 grams of protein within an hour of waking. Now, I get you. I don't do it within an hour of waking. I'm not perfect. I usually have my breakfast around 7:30, but that's ideal. The reason being is it helps decrease your cortisol levels, which is stressful hormones. I'm not going to go into teacher mode too much here, and it helps regulate your blood sugar, which we're going to chat about in just a second. And that's what keeps you off that roller coaster. That's what turns your fat burning in fat storage into fat burning and makes the shifts that throughout the day. So Darcy started with me in this breakfast club. We did a 2 week challenge with her of having her breakfast every single day, trying to get into some movement and having some greens and fizz. Okay. This, for her sake, she had never had a high protein breakfast. She would try, but it was never anything that was actually of substantial. And it was eating anywhere from like 9 to 10 o'clock. At first, it was hard for her because she was not used to having that amount of protein to start with. And I said, that's totally normal. Sometimes you have to ease into it, eat what you can, put the rest away. Don't eat anymore, put the rest away for later. Just listen to your body. Within the 5 days of us doing this, she said, I'm waking up hungry. And that's an excellent sign because that means your metabolism is working. That means your cortisol levels are lower, which is your stress hormone. And she's like, I'm finally listening to my body cues. After doing this for 2 weeks, she lost 2.5 pounds by just shifting her breakfast meal. Now she's continued with me with my one-to-one coaching all through June. We worked on structuring the rest of her day, personalizing her macros, doing some food choices, alternating things for her. She has now lost a total of 11.2 pounds since the end of May. And that was, I checked in with her 2 weeks ago because we do bi-weekly check-ins right now. And she has actually lost almost 11.5 pounds since the middle of May. So that's 6 weeks. So if you think that one small breakfast shift isn't going to make the difference, I'm here to tell you it makes all the difference. Now let's take another one of my clients, Kelsey. So she came into me And she had very low belief that this was going to work. She actually told me, this is not going to work for me because I'm just way too busy. So she lives with her husband, but her husband has a full-time job. He's out early in the morning, so she's responsible for getting her son off to daycare, getting herself ready for work. And she's like, I just don't have the time to do this. Like, I just don't have the time to have breakfast. This is why I'm skipping it. So she was holding on to weight, but also a lot of like really heavy inflammation, particularly in her stomach and also in her um, face area. And I can tell that because she has now lost almost 12 pounds, and it started with this breakfast shift. So she actually went balls to the wall and actually just started doing about 50 grams of protein, which she found worked for her. She had the yogurt bowl. She would have a little bit of a small shake on the side, and it helped sustain her until lunch. So what happened through with all these ladies is that they started with one small shift. They started listening to their body. They eased into it. They started seeing that their cravings were like less. They started snacking less, which put their body from fat storage to fat burning. They started giving their body that time in between to actually keep their blood glucose regular, which I'm going to chat about in just a second, and actually just keep their body stable. So their energy went up. Like Darcy told me, she no longer drinks like 11 cups of coffee, maybe one, has her coffee flavored shake. She doesn't have to crawl under her desk now to have a nap because of her breakfast shift. Natalie is like maintaining a beautiful lifestyle. She lost the weight. She's into like a smaller pair of jeans. She got compliments on how her skin looked a little like her skin looked better. Someone said her face looked a little bit thinner. They're like, what have you been doing? And her pants are smaller. All of that happened by starting with this one small shift. So now I want to talk to you a little bit about this yogurt bowl and why this is like the absolute viral. Now, you guys all would have got my little guide here, which can walk you through a little bit of the science and also walk you through all of my favorite recipes. Now, keep in mind that you can rotate these through the 5 days. There's one each for that. And they're all stuff that you probably have in your fridge. If you don't have the Arbonne protein, I highly suggest that you do get that. And I just got a message today from someone who got it who said this mixes so well in comparison to anything else I've ever had. And that's why I recommend it. Not because it has a perfect macro profile, which is carbs, protein, and fat, and it helps your body burn off the calories. Not because it like mixes well, it has the 25 grams of protein, but because it actually does so much more for your body than just the stuff that you're getting from Costco. And I know, I know that it's a little bit more expensive and pricey than the other ones, but it is a meal replacement. So when you add this or you want to have just a shake on your own, you can have it with water, you can have it with almond milk or oat milk. You don't need to be pulling out a blender and adding extra things to it, which is what I absolutely love about it. So if you have my little guide, we're going to chat a little bit about why this actually works. So, um, one moment here. This is kind of like a weird interruption. Okay. You know, my landline never rings, and here it does the one time when I'm on here. Okay, so when you eat a very sugary or simple breakfast that doesn't have anywhere from that 30 to 40 grams, your blood sugar rises quickly. So what happens then in response to that, your body releases insulin. And insulin is the one that takes the sugar from your bloodstream into your muscles, or it stores it into fat, uses it for fat or energy. Okay. So it moves it out of the bloodstream so that your glucose stays more steady. So instead of that staying available throughout your day, much of it gets stored away. So when you have these little spikes, your body shifts away from fat burning into storage mode. So what we want to really do is keep your blood sugar stable. So this is why that initial boost fades often as it comes. So if you're not eating something that's high protein, you have that little bit of like a boost. Okay, you feel good, but then you get that sharp decrease at the 10 a.m. when you're looking for something else to eat and you're rummaging through the drawer. Okay. Now, what happens is that in between, your body is just like, well, I actually don't really need this. I don't need extra energy. I was hungry because I didn't get what I needed, like, which I'm going to explain is protein. So I just put that into the fat mode. Whereas if you have a high protein breakfast, it keeps your blood sugar stable. It's kind of like keeping the furnace humming. It doesn't get burned out quickly. It doesn't cause your blood glucose to like raise sharply. It keeps it nice and steady. So think of it as just like throwing a big log on the fire. And we want to keep doing that continuously. We want your body to like burn off the energy that you've given it in the first 2 to 3 hours. And then for the last 4 to 5 hours, because what I recommend with my clients is that we only eat 3 meals a day High protein at each meal that keeps you feeling full, loses the fat, sustains muscle, but also burns it off and starts getting that fat and visceral fat out of fat storage and burning it off, which is why you lose fat with me and maintain the muscle. Okay. Got a little bit right here. I'm working on it. Okay. I got a little bit of an arm cut. I got a little bit of an arm cut, you know? That's what's so genius about this is that this is not just like weight loss. This is fat loss with muscle preservation when we're over the age of like 40 or in that perimenopause state, which is what we want to do to sustain us throughout our decades. So that's why you can change this within 2 weeks. So when that insulin drops, say, you know, at like that 10 o'clock, you feel tired not long after eating, hungry in between meals. You have those mid-morning snacks, brain fog or like low mood or kind of like, oh, you know, foggy. And you're reaching for another coffee or another energy drink. Like, tell me if any of that sounds familiar. Okay, so when this pattern continues day after day, it can create this cycle that feels really frustrating. But the good news is that you have the power to change it, and you can do it with this one small shift. So here, let's talk a little bit about my Greek yogurt bowl and why this works so well. So this is not just like, and this is engineered and put together to work for you for 42 grams of protein. So it gives you like a satiating, so it may helps you feel full. There's like lots of volume to it, so you feel like I'm actually getting a decent meal. You can change it up with different flavors of protein. You can change it up with different type of berries that you use. I never get sick of this. Like I have this every day in my rotation. And when my clients come to me, one of the very first things is they're like, I am obsessed with this yogurt bowl. Like I have a girl that has it every single day. And the more consistency you give to your body, the more that it's going to be like, okay, we're not under eating. We're feeling good. I'm getting the protein in that I need. My furnace is humming along. I'm burning that fat. And it's just going to become very regular. Like your body wants consistency. It doesn't want the ups and downs that you're giving it right now. Okay. And maybe you're doing really good. Like maybe you're like, I'm nailing my breakfast, but it's these other parts of the day that I'm struggling with. And if that's you, that's exactly what I offer. Look at those leaks. Look at those little tweaks that we can make throughout your day in my one-to-one coaching. Okay, so this is exactly how this works. So we do 3/4 cups of like plain Greek yogurt, which is usually about 15 plus grams of protein, mine is 17. You can add chia seeds or flax, which gives you a little bit of extra crunch. Sometimes people like to put a little sprinkle of granola over top, about 1 tablespoon. I recommend about 85 to 100 grams of blueberries or any types of berries, and we use those because they're like a lower glycemic index. You can also do like half of a chopped green apple, which is really tasty. It gives it kind of like a crunchy flavor. 1 serving of our essential meal protein. So you can use chocolate, vanilla, or this fudgy cake batter that we have that's delicious. And then you can put one teaspoon or tablespoon of like all natural nut butter in here. So what you've created with this is not just like this delicious meal, but you have created a perfect, like not perfect, but a pretty damn good balanced macro plate of protein from the yogurt and the protein powder plus carbohydrates, which comes from like a sugar source from the protein powder. Some of it also comes from the berries. Remember, like we're using unflavored yogurt because we're getting flavor from our berries. And then we're getting the chia seeds, and then we're also getting the nut butter, which is giving us a fat. So that's going to burn off, and the protein and the fat are going to help sustain you. And then the carb sources from that also gives you fiber, which helps you feel full. So if you're somebody who is like eating like a little bit of yogurt, increase your serving. Try the yogurt bowl. Try some of the recipes in there, but try the yogurt bowl first because I want to hear how it is. So that's before we wrap up here. I just want you to know that it's not willpower, it's not discipline, it's not that you can't trust yourself around food. It's actually biology and the things that are even happening throughout the rest of your day that I can help you fix with my one-to-one coaching, that actually could be stalling you in some of your weight loss and keeping the fat loss stuck. So what I want you to do for today is I want you tomorrow morning, make this Greek yogurt bowl, use frozen berries if you have, that's what I use. Make it overnight, tuck it in your work bag and have it tomorrow morning, or have it before you go to bed, or have it before you go to work, excuse me. Make it before you go to bed. And I want you to put in the Telegram chat, how do you feel after having that? Now, if tomorrow you're like, oh, okay, you know what? I don't feel all that much different. Don't go back to your old habit on Wednesday. Try it for the 5 days. I guarantee you that within 2 to 3 days of doing this, you're going to change your energy level. You're going to change your cravings. You're going to change how you're going to feel throughout your day. You're going to see the difference, have like one targeted shift can do. Imagine if that was your whole day. Imagine if you were doing that like with lunch and dinner with the correct support and professional guidance. Imagine how good you would feel. Just imagine it. I know I did 31 pounds in 4 months and I've kept it off for a full year. And same with all of my clients. They're not going back to like a meal plan and doing this. They are sustaining a lifestyle. So, guys, I want to hear in the Telegram how it's doing, how it's going for you. Thursday, we're going to have a quick wrap up call. We're going to see how the 5 days went. And I actually think I'm going to shift it to Friday. Excuse me. I meant to put Friday. And I'm just so excited for this.